All right, to Massachusetts now, where we are hearing from two more witnesses in the Lindsay Clancy trial. This comes after Clancy's lawyer called for a mistrial. He alleged misconduct on the part of prosecutors when they asked her mother-in-law whether it was a mortal sin for Lindsay to kill her 3 children. The judge rejected that effort. CBS News correspondent Shanelle Kaul is outside the courthouse in Plymouth, Massachusetts. So, Shanelle, what have we heard from the courtroom today?
Well, today jurors heard once again from forensic psychologist Kirk Halbrand. He took the stand this morning, continuing testimony from yesterday. And what he talked about was his medical evaluation that he conducted of Lindsay Clancy a couple of years after the tragedy. He said, according to that analysis, he found that Lindsay Clancy, in his opinion, was not suffering from postpartum psychosis the night all of this happened. He diagnosed her instead with bipolar II disorder and said that he believes she was also suffering with anxiety, with depression, with suicidal ideations. And important to note, he said that when it comes to those inner voices, the voices in Lindsay Clancy's head that have been reported throughout this trial, that in some cases, some witnesses have said motivated her to commit the crime that night, he called those voices her inner thoughts. Listen.
She said that they were thoughts. They were unwelcome and intrusive thoughts. But they were thoughts, just like many people would have. But that is not a psychotic symptom, having vivid thoughts. On the other hand, if you hear a voice like somebody might hear my voice, it's an external sort of a thing, then that is very likely a psychotic symptom. And so I tried to ask her to describe the difference between the two and specify whether it was an external voice, which would have been an hallucination, or an internal thought, which would have been an unwelcome, intrusive thought. And she said, except for on January 24th, what she was experiencing were thoughts rather than hallucinations.
Now, during cross-examination of that witness, defense attorney Kevin Reddington really pressed him on the timing and the credibility of that medical evaluation because, of course, that evaluation happened more than 3 years after the tragedy.
And Shanelle, the prosecution's final rebuttal witness took the stand today. Tell us about that testimony.
Yeah, this was Gregory Stathoff. This is someone who is a forensic psychiatrist. Again, a rebuttal witness brought by prosecutors today. And he talked about some of the inconsistencies he said he found between things that were on the record and things Lindsay Clancy told him happened a couple of years after the crime. Again, remember, this is someone who medically evaluated Clancy just a couple of months ago. But he also talked today about his opinion that this was basically a decision that Clancy made to kill those 3 young children that night. You remember that we heard testimony from another medical witness that was brought by the defense team a couple of days ago in which he characterized Lindsay Clancy as someone who was acting as a puppet. Well, this forensic psychiatrist today who testified said, in his opinion, that was not true, that she made this decision to kill the children that night. Again, Kevin Reddington, the defense attorney in this case, will have a chance to cross-examine this witness tomorrow before we expect closing arguments to happen likely on Thursday.
All right, Shanelle Kaul. Shanelle, thank you. Also, a reminder, CBS News 24/7 will be following the trial all day and bring you updates from the court. We'll also bring you the closing arguments live as soon as they start. So make sure to get the free CBS News app.